In the time that it took Russell Wilson to remove all mention of the Broncos from his Twitter account, Xavier Worthy broke the combine record for the fastest 40-yard dash clocked. Oh! And while Justin Fields continues to be linked to every team in the NFL, draft prospects worked their tails off for our entertainment. And I guess they might have helped their draft stock too. Today, I, Brandon Perna, will attempt to do something I've never done before. Break down the real winners and losers of the NFL Scouting Combine. And unlike most Combine analysts, I don't even know who the hell half these guys are. For example, I thought Rome Odunze was an emperor. Just kidding, I actually know Rome because I watched a little bit of Michael Penix ball last season, which leads me to my first winning work ethic, Rome Odunze. Now, Rome might be the second receiver taken in the draft. It's between him and LSU ball catcher Malik Neighbors. Rome did something unprecedented though, and stayed on the field late, running the 3-cone drill until he got the 6.6 time he wanted.
And he is the last player out here doing anything. I've never seen anything like this, Jamie, at the Combine.
And while he had very little, say nothing, to gain from this time, I think the drive and willingness to keep doing something until he gets it right stands out.
And the officials are telling him, you have a time already, you can take that time. He won't accept it.
Especially for a top 10 prospect at the Combine, where a lot of the top 10 guys are opting out of drills. Loser? That little orange piece of shit cone that kept falling over, keeping Rome on the field. Rome was not built in a day, but burning that fuckwad little cone can be done in about a minute. Rome also gave the single best answer at the Combine when he was asked,
do you think you can land a plane in case of emergency?
Absolutely not. We are going down. All souls have perished.
Personally, I would have answered,
I'm drunk now.
like Denzel Washington in that Plane movie.
We're gonna roll it, okay?
What do you mean roll it?
Okay, here we go.
Usually, when we're talking about the edge, it's how overrated U2 is. Whoa, chill, it's just a joke. If we dabble in edging, it's about taking your time. At the Combine, my take is edge defenders are too fucking fast. Alabama's Dallas Turner wrecked the Combine with a 4.47 40, faster than Derrick Henry. Dallas is coming off an 11-sack season at Bama and has a good chance at being the first edge defender selected in the draft. Winning cannon, Joe Milton. Tennessee QB Joe Milton hasn't been talked about all that much in the run-up to the draft, but he's going to get some looks now that we know he can throw a football to Neptune. This throw was measured at 70 yards, the longest throw by any quarterback. Al Davis just broke out of his tomb and is crawling to Las Vegas trying to get the Raiders to draft Joe Milton and Xavier Worthy. Milton not only threw the pigskin a country mile, he also had the best vertical jump and second best broad jump. And you know that drill is important because when I think of playing quarterback, I think about jumping. I think about it as a fan too. When I watch Patrick Mahomes, I want to jump off a cliff. And if I jump off a cliff, I want Joe Milton's legs when I do it. JJ McCarthy has been the big riser of the offseason at quarterback, and I'll go into more detail in that in an upcoming video. But nothing he did at the Combine is going to stop his stock from shooting up. Now, he wasn't perfect in the throwing drills, no one is, but he was pretty damn impressive on all of the throws not clipped for Twitter engagement and showed that he's got more zip on the ball than he's been getting credit for. And he should. I mean, he's got the most well-rested arm of anyone in this draft. Winning loser? Keon Coleman. Or perhaps losing winner? Depends on how you want to look at it. Florida State's big physical wide receiver, Keon Coleman, was a mixed bag at the Combine. He recorded the slowest 40 time of any wideout at 4.61 seconds, still a tenth of a second faster than Jerry Rice. However, he did record the fastest speed of anyone during the gauntlet drill at 20.36 miles per hour, which you might argue is much more important than running in a perfectly straight line with no balls coming at you. Coleman reminds me a lot of a guy who quietly dominated the NFL for a long time, Brandon Marshall, and he's expected to be an early second-round pick who might sneak into round one. Oh, fuck no, he's a Chief, isn't he? Winner? Armius Mims. Georgia tackle Armius Mims might be the scariest man alive. Not only is he 6'8", 340 pounds, he ran a 5.02 40-yard dash and posted a 4.33 shuttle, which tied Jake Fisher for the fastest shuttle time for any offensive tackle since 1999. And the shuttle is the one that matters more for offensive linemen, and he absolutely crushed it. Mims was a borderline first-round pick, and now he seems like he's solidified himself as a first-rounder. He's also solidified a job as a bouncer in any club, anywhere, forever, for all eternity. Loser, also Armius Mims. Oh yeah, he also strained his hamstring, proving that men the size of small tanks should not run that fast. Honestly, all of the top tackles helped themselves with very good combine performances. Troy Fautanu, Tyler Guyton, and Joe Alt controlled his narrative and deleted any doubt GMs might have for taking him top 10. Fatano? Is it Fatanu or Fatano?
Yeah, Fautanu.
Anyway, Fatanu, unlike those other dudes who are all 6'8", 9, is a disgustingly puny 6'4".
Roll his hips and he is nasty.
As defensive ends and edge rushers look more and more like lean sprinters, having a tackle who can move as quickly as them is key to protecting your QB. The biggest knock on him is height, which anyone who has actually watched him knows is completely irrelevant. Winning Italian Tommy DeVito, center Tanner Bortolini. The Wisconsin Badger knocked out a sub-540 a second a time and ran a 4.28 a shuttle. Why is that interesting? Isn't the most important measurable for a center butt softness for a QB's hands? Well, Josh Norris over at Underdog pointed out that linemen who can run quick shuttle times do very well in the NFL, and Tanner is faster than all of them. Plus, he earned Next Gen Stats Most Athletic Prospect in the entire draft. Fitting award on the day that Jason Kelce retired. Winner? Jason Kelce, possibly topping his Super Bowl speech by referencing Nick Foles' penis size.
I won't forget Nick Foles having the game of his life on the biggest stage possible. And the biggest dick on the team going up to Doug Peterson and asking for the Philly special. And Doug Peterson having the biggest balls in the stadium.
I too get emotional when thinking about giant penises, Jason. Overall, this seems to be an amazing offensive line draft class.
Frank Crum. I mean, what a day, Frank. Look at me.
I know.
Come on.
I kind of hope Frank Crum and Rome Odunze get drafted by the same team, so I can say all crumbs lead to Rome.
You were flying, and so was the lettuce. The lettuce is getting the love.
Winning foodie and winning name, Jackson Powers Johnson. Powers Johnson, pretty self-explanatory, right? Jackson Powers Johnson is one of the best interior offensive linemen in this draft, and he's got a burger named after him in Oregon. It's the Big Jack's Burger, and it contains 2 burger patties, mac and cheese, bacon, and pulled pork. That's the most offensive lineman meal I've ever heard of, but if he ever stops playing football and exercising, that burger will revert to its previous name. The triple bypass, diabetes-inducing, cardiac arrest, illegal burger. The new fastest dude ever, Xavier Worthy. Former Bengals receiver John Ross previously held the record for the fastest 40 time in NFL history at 4.22 seconds. Longhorn receiver Worthy, who at first appeared to tie John Ross at 4.22, broke the record by clocking an official 4.21 gigawatts. That's actually faster than Olympic sprinter Usain Bolt, according to this one certainly not accurate graphic. New sleep paralysis demon, Florida State defensive tackle Braden Fisk. Why the fuck is a 292-pound interior lineman running a 4.78 40? Fisk also broke Aaron Donald's 4.39 time on the short shuttle. Anytime you do anything better than Aaron Donald, people are going to notice. So Bears, take him with the first overall pick or regret it forever. Loser of academics, Texas Tech, teaching Tyler Owens that outer space is not real?
Don't believe in.
Nah, I don't believe in space. I'm more religious, so I think like we're just wrong right now. I don't think there's like other planets and stuff like that. I don't know.
Tyler also had the second longest jump in combine history.
11 is incredible. 12 was stupid.
Tip Ryman doesn't believe in pigeons, I guess, which means for him, Home Alone 2 was a science fiction movie. The quarterback's throwing, not throwing, interviewing, not interviewing. You're all winners and losers. I know all of the reasons for these guys to not throw, but me sitting at home, can't you entertain me by dropping some bombs? It's March, and I'm jonesing for some football, guys. I am. Now, none of the big three QBs, Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jayden Daniels did shit other than interview in Indy. Now, Jayden Daniels actually had a pretty good explanation for why he didn't test, saying it will bring more scouts to his pro day, which gives his teammates more exposure, because everyone knows LSU doesn't get any national coverage. But I get it. They don't have any reason to mess with their draft stock when they're all already slotted to go 1, 2, and 3. But my God, it leads to moments like this, where Sam Hartman was the only quarterback running the 40-yard dash.
He's the only one running? He's the best QB. He's the only one running? Yeah. No, that's a huge run.
He ran, caught his breath, and then ran it again with no one going in between. Big respect for that. Hartman ran a 4.8, but probably could have shaved a few tenths of a second off of his time if not for the drag resistance from his luscious mane of beautiful black hair. If you put a hatchet in his hand, he'd look like Daniel Day-Lewis from The Last of the Mohicans. Winning event? The quarterback fastball. We need more of this. Shit that does not matter, but I still want to know. Please make this a Pro Bowl event. It's not particularly relevant how fast a QB can throw a football compared to other intricacies like timing, accuracy, and anticipation, but I want every quarterback in the NFL to line up and throw a football as hard as they can at a padded wall. Better yet, I want them to throw at one of those ballistic dummies and see who can do the most damage to its internal organs. I think Josh Allen might honestly be able to throw a ball clean through a human being if he gets close enough. Joe Milton had the fastest throw of the day at 62 miles per hour. JJ McCarthy was right behind him at 61. And our boy Sam Hartman clocked in at just 53 miles per hour. Roughly the speed of an 85-year-old in the leftmost lane of the freeway. Winning DNA, Michael Penix. How long until we just start measuring penis size at the combine? I mean, come on, we've been tiptoeing around it for years now, haven't we? Let's just get it over with. Clearly all the scouts want to know. Speaking of, Michael Penix had some of the most freakish measurables at the combine with an 81-inch wingspan, 10.5-inch hands, and over 33.5-inch arm length. If you're wondering who has the smallest hands in the NFL currently, it's still Kenny Pickett at 8.5 inches, while Will Levis has the biggest at 10 5/8. The only instance where a white guy is going to see that number next to his name ever. Penix didn't just measure well, he also threw the ball really nicely. And it looks like he's cleaned up his release since the last time we saw him and reportedly interviewed really well with teams. Most importantly, his medicals came back clean, which is huge for a guy who's torn 2 ACLs in college and busted up his shoulder. With the top 3 QBs not throwing, Penix emerged as the best overall passer. Basically, everything that needed to go well for Michael Penix did. Loser? Whoever started off Caleb Williams' interview by asking him if he's afraid to compete.
Caleb, are you afraid?
Good morning, everybody.
Are you afraid to compete? How do you respond to people saying that you're worried to be compared side by side with your peers in medicals, measurements, and workouts?
No, not doing things. It was a decision by me and my team, my family, and it comes down to that.
The only better way to respond would have been by saying, with all due respect, sir or madam, go fuck your mother. Winner of doing the least, Marvin Harrison Jr. Talk about a guy I admire. Marvin Harrison Jr. went to the NFL Combine and didn't do a single thing. And will still be the first wide receiver drafted. He didn't run, he didn't jog, hell, he didn't even walk. I'm being told he had a group of people carry him around like an old king on one of those litters. Yeah, those things are called litters. Can you believe that? Both badass and smart, as you could strain a hamstring just by walking. He didn't talk to the media, which might be the greatest sign of maturity a young man can possess. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to ask me about whether or not birds are fucking real? And I think when you're as talented as Harrison, you can do whatever the hell you want at the combine. That's your prerogative. Some of the measurables are important, some of the performance is important, but the value there for players and teams are the interviews, and they're far more valuable for the guys getting drafted outside of the top 10. The better you interview as a top 10 prospect, the more likely you are to land on a shittier team, which makes the NFL draft one of the worst rewards on earth for being elite at what you do. Biggest winner? The man who may have helped his draft stock the most, running back Isaac Guerendo. He tied Bortolini with a 99 athleticism score. The Louisville running back is coming off a season where he averaged 6.1 yards per carry, which is great, but that was just on 132 attempts. What's cool about the combine is that while some of the top dogs can hurt themselves with poor performances, the opportunity for guys buried deep in the draft, like Guerendo, can greatly increase their draft value, especially as a running back, where more and more teams want to get their back through the draft. Guerendo was ranked as the 11th best back heading into the draft, but after the 6'1", 221-pound back blazed a 4.33 40, hit a 41.5-inch vert and a 9.98 RAS score, which is like a Riz score, but for how much other dudes want to be you, he got the attention of numerous GMs and scouts. In terms of sheer athleticism, he ranked 7th for running back since the year 2000, right there with LaDainian Tomlinson and Saquon Barkley. Scoring off the charts as a running back is actually valuable. It's the least complicated position on the field, where as long as you have good vision, you can instantly translate to success in the NFL. Boom! Winners, losers, I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like the video and subscribe here on YouTube. Again, we got the JJ McCarthy video coming up tomorrow or Wednesday, and